This is Dirshu Mishnah Brura. As we begin Simin Reish Mem Dalit, in which the Mechaber coins this Simin, Ize Melachis Yachal Inu Yudi Lasais Ba'ad Yisrael. What are the jobs that a guy is allowed to do for a Yid? There are going to be some continuations from the previous Asif, most notably the Maras Ayin that we spoke about, that whenever you're working on a field, you have to be wary of what someone might think, that you're working on the property of a Yid. And we're going to delve deeper into the halachas of Kablanus versus Schiros, the way to formulate agreement that the workers, whether he's being paid per hour, whether he's being paid for the job, etc. Says the Mechaber in Sifal, Paisik Adam. Person could literally stipulate, Pirush Masna, stipulate, Imaini Yehudi, with a guy, Al Malacha for work, and he sets a price, and now the guy is working for himself. So we have a fascinating case over here, and the critical word is kitzitza, is that there was a kaitzit damin. There were wages, there was a price that was designated, and then when the worker works, it's considered that he's working for himself. Then he's going to be allowed to work even on Shabbos, and everything will be mutter. Continues the Machaber, that's all be'etzem, we would call it, theoretically. Because when is this true? B'tzin, that's only in private. Shein makir, not called, because then no one can know. She's doing malacha nasas b'Shabbos shal Yisrael. In the confines of one's own home, there is a guy that's working for someone else, and he was katzatz, then the guy could work. You do him for a sames, if everyone knows what he's doing, then it's aser. Why? Because when you see him working, no one knows the monetary arrangement that was made with the guy. And people are going to say that he was hired, and therefore we have our classical maris ayin like we had in the previous siman, and therefore it would be aser. Lefikach, therefore explains the Mechaber. If someone stipulated with a guy to build for him a chater or a wall, or to cut down things in his field, if the work that he's doing is b'medina, within the town, you're not let him do it on Shabbos. Why? Because people are going to see, and people are going to think, and they're not going to know, she'enon yoidim shepasak. They're not going to know that there was a stipulation, that there was a ktsitza. Says the Ramav, if you live amongst Goyim, and from this Ramah, which we'll see really more tomorrow, we see how far this Maris Ayin goes. That even if it's a Goyish town, you got to be worried, wait, maybe there's going to be an Ireach, I guess that's going to come, or the people in the household. So let's begin with the Mishnah Berurah over here, Sefkat and Aleph, a very important Mishnah Berurah as he defines what is Ksitza. Says the Mishnah Berurah, v'kaitzitz damim, hainu kablanus. That means he's being paid for the job. Shemas neimai, that you stipulated she'as le'izim malacha b'schar davar katzov, for a specific amount. V'maisla b'tevis hana, and let's say he's working for free. And the Kmam Sim Reish saying Sefdal Sim Reish Nun Beis Sef Beis B'siyata Dishmaya. Then Sefkat and Beis, it is mutter. Why, says the Mishnah Berurah? Because since you stipulated the price that the guy is now considered working for himself. He wants to finish up working. Why? Because then he gets paid for his work. The Yisrael ain't kapeita b'zeh. The Yid has no kapeita for this. Because the Yid says, if you don't do it today, I didn't give you a time. Do whatever you want. Also reminds us the Mishnah Berurah, which we'll see, if you told the guy that he has to work on Shabbos, if you were kaveya melachti b'Shabbos, then that will automatically create that it is aser. Continues Mishnah Berurah, Sefkat and Gimel, this is only when the work is being done b'tzina, in private. Hainu shi malachas tzina. It's work that's done in private. No one knows what he's doing. Even if it's being done in public. So explains Mishnah Berurah a critical nikuda. It's not whether the guy is working in private or in public. He can be working in public. But if no one knows what he's doing, if he's a mechanic and he's working on a car and no one knows that this car belongs to Yid, it could be fine. Now, what if they do know the car belongs to Yid? Maybe he has some bumper stickers all over the place that clearly delineate that it belongs to Yid. So maybe that'll be a problem, but it has to do with the malacha. If the malacha is such that no one knows that he's working for the Yid, then that's going to be when it is mutter. And even if some people yoidim shemlach Yisrael shari. So now what that geder is, we're already seeing, is a little bit gray. Some know, not everyone knows. We'll have to see. One second. We just learned the Ramah that said that you have to be suspectful of even guests showing up to the town. Says Mr. Bura. Okay, so now we always have to remember there's something called melachas mechober. You're working on a sadeh. You're working on a bayis, you're working on a land, it's connected to the ground, then you have to be more wary. And the reason is because a regular field, we assume, has the name of the bailam on it, but if it's not a mechubar, if it's an item, let's go back to our car at the mechanic, and not everyone knows that it's a Jewish car. Maybe it's not that there's bumper stickers. Now, a few people know, they know you're beat up Honda Odyssey. So a few people might know it's yours, but it's not inherently clear that it's your item, then that would be called sinan, that would be mutter. If it's connected to the ground, it's kilu, everyone knows it is of the yitz. If one's chatzar, one's wall, even if not everyone knows. Still, Gamkein also utilizing the Yisai that we just said, the Yishachas Hashchin of Sheyadim Shushalai, we have to be worried about the neighbors that know it's yours. They're going to be worried that you rented it out to the guy, Eschir Yaim, which is Aser. And even though the derech of a field, as we learned in the previous siman, is la'arisos, is a profit-sharing agreement, which we usually say that the guy is working for himself. So what's the worst? Someone's going to think that the guy is getting a share in it. As we saw in the previous siman, Rishon Gimel Sev Aleph. Still, mikol makam aser d'shani aser shchiach gradavar. Because over there, when they look into Yamati, they'll find that the guy is taking a portion of the fruit. Here they see, 1 second, the guy's not taking any produce home. So either they're going to know, and therefore there's a marasayin. It's normal to rent workers daily. Says the Mishnah, what if the minhag, everyone rents v'kibayles? Still, das a taz lahachmir. Shaloi laniach eina yudi lasis b'sada v'shabbos v'yontav. You should not let a yid be in your field on Shabbos and Yontav. V'kol shekein b'vnei bayis. Why? Ta'akati yachshal du b'schir yoim. People are going to suspect that they're daytime workers. Shegam zeu regilus. But now, says the Mishnah Bura, quoting Rabbi Kiva Eger, a very important shita. The yesh mekilim bezeg shevina kol ha'yer b'ki bailes, like contractors nowadays. Kol ha'yer is b'ki bailes. V'kvosu dakish kol amlachu b'ki bailes. Lafuki imraka derich levadu kablan. If it's just a contractor, shar mesaimim derech lischar l'parmim yoim. But the workers are daytime workers. V'afilim muschar b'kol b'kablanis gamkin also. Ein v'arlach shabiyarnu de besadi yishtus v'chal divrei hamakom hefsid. So Paskins the Mishnah Bura that by a sadeh there is a makom to be makel b'makom hefsid, only a sadeh. Aval b'bayis archiin im yish l'akol b'zeh. Why, says the Mishnah Bura, do neged kama paiskim. So we see that Mishnah Bura is weighing very heavily over here that the only way he's willing to be makel is a sadeh b'makom hefsid. Ayin sharichu b'shem and Yehuda simin yud beis. So let's see some of the deer shoes over here. Says the Dirshu, going back to number 1, Izim Lacha, Shazim Lacha B'schir Davar Katzov. That important first Mishnah Bura that he explained what is Kablanus. Vim Hisna, he says the Dirshu that he should take his pay, and you didn't say how much. He said, I'll pay you. You didn't say how much. But rather, they agree that after time, they'll figure it out. So Mishnah Bura and Rishon Zion, the Shulchan Aruch and Mishnah Bura is going to explain that's like Katzatz. So if you said that I'm not going to pay you per hour, we'll figure it out. Once you finish the job, and I guess it's a friendly arrangement, that's called ksitza. Sivkatan number 2 over here in the Dirshu, that why is it mutter to daiten avshei kavit? The reason for this is by Yischer Yoim, even though he has a set wages, we don't say he's working for himself. So the Graz, Shulchan Aruch Rav Balatani explains, because by Yischer Yoim, he has nothing to do with the etzem malacha. It's a time. He's getting paid for the time. And therefore, it's not considered his work. Rather, he's just being hired for the avoid itself, for the amount of time that he's working. Therefore, he doesn't want to finish up the work. And rather, he's just working for the Yid the whole day to get paid. And therefore, it's not considered that he's working for himself, but the opposite. He's a hired day-time worker, so he's mamish like my shliach, that he's working, and every minute that he's working, he's like me. And therefore, it's going to be a problem. Whereas it comes to a kablan, he wants to finish the job to get paid. Therefore, it's a daitin avshei, and therefore it is mutter. Continues the dirshu over here. The malacha itself is in yadua, that it belongs to Yisrael. This is the Mishnah Berurah that explained that the difference between sin and b'ferhesi is not necessarily whether people see, but rather whether people know that it's a Yiddish item or not. For this reason, says the dirshu, a bake shaykh li Yisrael, that's in a place that there are no Jews. Says Ramesh Feinstein, you're allowed to allow goyim to deposit into that bake on Shabbos because we are not worried that anyone's going to see what's going on, because the malacha, no one knows what's going on. And to answer Talafainim L'Chadaima, since he's doing for himself, the guy's allowed to, and Ramesh has on, there's no Isra Mar Sayin. Why? Because it's in a place without Yidden. But now, Dirshu note number 4 here points out that Stam Mechubar has the Shem Bailam Olav, says the Graz. What does this mean? The Mechubar is more Chamer than Mechubar, a field and whatnot. Roiv of the times, it's a open work and everyone sees what's going on. And there's a call and everyone knows who the owner is. Whereas when it comes to something like working on something that's not attached to the ground, let's say like we said, like the car, there, not as everyone knows, and therefore there's more room for kula. And we have to be chayshil l'shchein of sheyodim shishalai, we said, Mr. Burr Simkat and Vav. That's why the Shartzian later on is going to explain to us that there's a loy plug, that once it's mechubar, once it's karka, one has to be more chamer, which is the reason why binyan, building, and the like is much more severe in halacha. And we'll pick it up as Siyata D'Shmaya, continuing Sif Aleph in the next Shir.